Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking a little bit about type 1 diabetes, the difference between type 1 and type 2. I'm going to give you all a couple of facts, and I'm going to um, tell you all the signs and symptoms of diabetes. So first I'm going to tell you the difference between type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetes is where your pancreas produces little to none insulin. Type 2 is when your pancreas produces insulin, but just not enough to maintain your blood sugars. I am type 1, so I don't produce any insulin at all. So I have to constantly take shots to maintain my blood sugars. So that's pretty crazy. But yeah, basically type 1 is when your pancreas just gives up on you, it shuts down, that. It's pretty sad because about 1.25 million people have type 1 diabetes, which is only 5% of diagnosed diabetes in the United States. So between both type 1 and type 2 diabetes, only 5% have type 1. That's why a bunch of people get type 1 and type 2 diabetes mixed up, because 95% of people around the United States have type 2, whereas only 5% has type 1. So that's why I'm kind of bringing awareness to type 1 instead of type 2. Don't get me wrong, they're both terrible, but it's just pretty sad because I've had people, come up to me and say, tell me stories about their diabetes and they have type 2, and I'm just like, well, that's completely different from mine. And yeah, it's pretty crazy, but I just kind of want to share a couple of other facts. There has been a 21% increase in type 1 diabetes. So, and that was between the years 2001 and 2009. Roughly around 40,000 young adults, so 20 years and younger, including children, get diagnosed each year of type 1 diabetes, which is pretty sad because with that increase and more people getting diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, they expect about 5 million people in the year 2050 to be diagnosed, which I really hope that doesn't happen, because I don't think it's a sucky disease. It's a silent disease. A lot of people you can't see the disease unless you absolutely do not take care of it. Another thing that I want to talk about is money and diabetes. Luckily, I have found some amazing organizations here in Lubbock, so I can get my insulin roughly cheap. But there was a time where I had to kind of wing off of my insulin, only because it was expensive. Now, insulin prices vary from which pharmacy you get it, what type of insulin you use, and all of that. But I'm going to tell you the prices of mine because I know the prices of mine. So, Diabetics has a short-term insulin and a long-term insulin. This is what I have here. This bottle, which is my short-term, costs roughly around $275, whereas my long-term insulin costs around roughly $350. So together, that is around $600-700, and these only last me about 3 weeks, not even a full month. So that's already, we'll round it up to $600 for just these $2, and that's a month. And that doesn't include, needles. So that's another $20. Lancets, another $10, trips, another $20, and that's just within a month. So so if you don't have health insurance and you have type 1 diabetes, you're spending roughly around $1,000, a little bit, actually no, over. You're spending about $1,500 a month on your diabetic supplies, which is insane because I need my insulins to live. If I were to go a day without my insulin, I would end up in the hospital. I would probably end up in a coma, and I'd probably end up dying, which is super, super sad because, I mean, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. Guys, it's pretty sad. Whew. Anyways, like, I would literally die without these. And people don't understand that. Like, they think diabetes is, oh, just don't eat any sugar, you'll be fine. No, it's not. Like, I have to constantly check my blood, so I'm constantly using diabetic supplies. I am constantly taking shots, so I'm using diabetic supplies. And what I actually read is that about $14 billion of lost income goes to the diabetic association, which is helps produce all the insulin, and you know, so we can just basically survive. I mean, it's like, it's pretty sad, like, because I remember when I was younger and my insurance would go off, my parents would have to, you know, raise money so I can get my insulin. And I mean, there's times, like, my mom was telling me a story. When my mom, she was scared to tell my dad she ran out of insulin, and she ended up in the hospital, almost dying because of it. Because, I mean, when we don't have our insulin, our blood sugar shoot up, and we can go into what is called ketoacidosis, or DKA, and that is when your blood starts getting acidic. You start getting ketones, which means your blood's getting acidic, and you start going into a diabetic coma, which that can kill people. When I was 11 years old, you know, I was going into ketoacidosis, and I couldn't keep anything down. I couldn't even keep water down, so my body was dehydrating at a very, like, fast rate. I just remember screaming at my doctor because he wouldn't give me any water, and just falling asleep and then waking up in the ICU. Excuse me. And it's just really scary, just living with it, because I'm sorry, I didn't think I would get emotional in this video. Get it together, CJ. Make note, I will be doing a diabetic and mental health post, because it is very exhausting. Okay. Anyways, where was I? Oh, like I said, when I was just 11, you know, I could have died. I remember just falling asleep, seeing nothing but black, and waking up in the ICU, in the hospital room. And it's scary because, I mean, it's because I literally forgot to take one of my shots. And that almost made me die. It was a very scary time. I'm going to move on to the signs and symptoms, because this kind of ketoacidosis is kind of making me a little emotional. Okay, signs and symptoms of type 1 diabetes. There is quite a few of them. Everyone is different. So I'm just going to give you kind of the basics. First one is fatigueness. You know, you're, which is very common in any sickness. You know, you just don't want to get up. You don't want to do very much. You just want to lay in bed. Then there is frequent urination. You know, you're constantly getting up, going to the bathroom, using the bathroom a lot. Another one is increase of appetite. You know, you're just constantly hungry, so you're lying in bed, you're peeing a lot, and you're eating all the time. And another one is weight loss, drastic amount of weight loss. So especially in your older years, you know, you gain weight as you get older, and then all of a sudden you just lose weight. That is not a good sign. And then not the last sign, but the major sign, which you have to go and get yourself tested, is vomiting. So that's where the DKA comes in, is when your blood sugar gets too high and you start dehydrating, so you start vomiting. So there are the signs and symptoms for diabetes. The difference between highs and lows. So highs, you know, your blood sugar shoots up. You have to take insulin. The signs of a high blood sugar is increased appetite, weakness, weight loss, moodiness, pretty much anything, and so you have to take a shot. Low blood sugars is when your blood sugar drops and you have to eat something. Signs of a low blood sugar is basically drunk signs, what I like to call them. You start getting sweats, you start slurring your words, you start kind of get dizzy. You actually lose your appetite when you're low. That one actually varies, because I know diabetics who like to eat a lot when they're low, and whereas me, I don't like to eat at all. So when I'm low, sometimes I have to force something down just to get my blood sugar up. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of have like a little cravings when I'm low, where I have to eat the most weirdest things. I'm gonna tell you what that weirdest thing is I have to eat a bowl of cereal, specifically a bowl of Fruity Pebbles with a carbonated drink, like a Dr. Pepper. So here I am eating a bowl of cereal with, of course, a cereal and milk, and I'll still have it, and I'll drink a Dr. Pepper right after a bite. I don't know why I'm like that, but hey, everyone's different. Trying to think of what else. I can't really think of anything else about type 1 diabetes. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll figure out the answers. The facts and statistics today were given to me by the American Diabetes Association and JDFR. And also, one more thing I want to tell y'all is, if you live in Lubbock, Texas, or in the surrounding areas, tonight at Jake's Back Room is a diabetic monster jam, which I will be there tonight, and which I'm pretty excited. There is a small donation fee of $5, and all of those donations will go to, I believe, the American Diabetes Association, which is awesome. They will be having live music. I heard that there'll be a couple of booths there, so I'm pretty excited. If you go, feel free to go up there and, you know, say hi. Give me a hug, you know, ask me questions, whatever you want, or, you know, whatever. Buy me a drink. I'm just kidding. You don't have to buy me a drink. But yeah. So I kind of hope this, you know, tells you a little bit about type 1 diabetes. I'm sorry that this is such a long video. I hope you stay and watched it all. But like I said, if you have any questions, you know, just message me. I'll be happy to answer them. If you know, just want to show support, do whatever. What I do ask is, you know, go to someone with that you know who has diabetes and tell them, you know, you care for them. Tell them, give them a hug. Say, I'm proud of you, because diabetes is very tiring. You know, it's a lot. It's very stressful. I mean, it's very hard to deal with. I mean, I've dealt with it for 19 years. And there's people who's dealt with it, like my mother, who's dealt with it for 33 years. And it takes a very strong mentality to get through it sometimes. So, yeah, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I know that after this, I'll probably cry a little bit more, but I'll get over it. But, you know, I will be okay. I'm a very strong person. And just make sure that you maintain your health. So, especially if diabetes is in your family, maintain your health, because I could not wish type 1, type 2 diabetes on anyone. It is a very difficult disease. It's a silent disease. People don't see it. They just see the person, you know. We don't have, you know, like anything to show it. We just have our little finger pricks or our scars or our anywhere. Anyways, I hope I see you tonight. If you're going to Jake's, please share, like this video. You know, whatever you do. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.